It's Rocco's as well as Ask Rocco Media's mission to bring you uncensored, unbiased, and unrelenting business information to increase sales and create the celebrity status you deserve.
I don't think anybody except Martha Stewart represents their brand, and besides me, represents their brand as well as a Donald Trump. And, you know, there's a really big line between people that like Donald Trump and people that don't like Donald Trump. But that's all right. Remember what I said before, 65% of America hates me just for waking up in the morning. That's all right. Donald Trump thinks the same way. I believe that this interview, and we're not going to go through all the interview, but I want you to watch this. Sit back.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Aaron We're back tonight with a brand new edition of our ongoing series, The Millionaire Inside. But tonight, we've renamed it The Billionaire Inside because of our special guest, Donald Trump. Donald Trump defines the American success story. He's one of the world's most successful real estate developers. He's the star of the NBC hit show The Apprentice and author of 7 bestsellers. His new book is called Think Big and Kick Ass. He's chairman and president of the Trump Organization. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Donald Trump. Every single person here is so thrilled that you made the big trip and came from Manhattan across the George Washington Bridge. And everyone here...
The studios, I've been in the studios.
By you, by your story, by your books, by your show, whatever it may be. And it all begins with an amazing story of how passion rules your life.
Well, it does. It's all about passion. I see the way you deal, and I see the passion that you have when you're doing it so well. But I learned a long time ago from my father that it's all about passion.
And he worked not 4 days a week, not 5 days a week, not 6 days a week.
He worked 8 days a week. He just loved it. And other people would go on vacations, and his friends, I'd see his friends, and they were all unhappy. And my father worked all the time, literally 7 days a week, all the time, and he was a happy guy. And somebody said to me, where did you learn, this so-called ethic? He never sat down. He never spoke to me about it. He never said, oh, you got to work, you got to work. But I watched him. I was smart, and I'm young, and I watched my father. And he built buildings in Brooklyn and Queens, and he loved what he did. And he was actually unhappy if he had to go away for a day. It wasn't a question of 3 or 4 days, but it was like a day. So I think I learned a little bit by osmosis, through osmosis, that that's the way to be. And I like to work. I enjoy working. Most of the people in here enjoy working.
One thing that people think about when they think of you is you are determined, you are dogged, you are tenacious. I mean, you have been engaged in some of the biggest fights of all time when it comes to getting what you want. How do you have the ability to say, all right, I want this, and I'm going to put my head against the wall and put my head against the wall and put my head against the wall until I win?
Well, I hate to say this, but to a certain extent you're born with that. You're born a fighter, and I've seen a lot of people, they want to fight, but they can't. But I've enjoyed a lot of good fights over the years, and we've had some fun doing it.
Donald, you have a great story about the west side of Manhattan. And anyone who lives in Manhattan knows that you can't drive past the west side anymore on the highway without seeing a plethora of Trump buildings. And a few years ago, there was nothing. But how many years did you sat for a long time on that property before you could do anything with it?
I've actually been working on that property for over 20 years, and now it's really taking shape. It's been an amazing success. It's called Trump Place, and it goes from 72nd Street to 59th Street, and it was tough. 3 community boards, meaning you had to go through 3 different communities to get it zoned. Everybody said it was going to be an impossibility, but I didn't give up. I fought, and actually in the early 90s when things were very bad, I was fighting for zoning, which actually was a good time to fight for zoning because nobody in the city thought it was going to happen. And frankly, if it did happen, it wasn't going to get built because times were very bad in New York at that period of time. So I went, I fought, I got the zoning. People were shocked by that, and I got a job built that's been It's been a spectacular success.
And another thing that you say, this is great. I think that Donald has a story, or you might have a story here that's going to excite people. That sometimes getting to the top, you don't always have to be nice. And sometimes when people do bad things to you, it's all right to do bad things back.
Well, you know, there are a lot of bad people out there. And you really have to go. If you have a problem with someone, you have to go after them. And it's not necessarily to teach that person a lesson. It's to teach all of the people that are watching a lesson.
Now,
that you don't take crap. And if you take crap, you're just not going to do well. So be smart, be sharp. It's all about this.
It's not your issue. It's their issue. But also, and I get goosebumps sometimes listening to this, because sometimes you don't have to be nice to people. And I want you to come away. If that's the only thing that you come away with this weekend, you don't have to be nice. You have to be fair. Fairness is what's right, not nice. Because most of the time you get screwed over on a regular basis and a consistent basis when you are nice. I don't know how many people come to me on a regular basis, call me up, Rock. I tried to be nice to these people, and it just doesn't work out. And you don't go after people for them. It's not personal. I always think about the scene in The Godfather when Michael's talking to his brother, with Tom Hagen, and he goes, James Caan goes, Tom, this is business, and he's taking it very, very personal. But James Caan before that said to Michael, this isn't like, a college boy. What do you think this is? The Army, where you can shoot him from a mile away? No, you got to get him close. Bada bing, blood all over your nice Ivy League suit. Tom, this is business, and he's taking it very, very personal. Sometimes you have to get blood on your Ivy League suit. I know it doesn't sound that nice, but sometimes that has to happen to make sure that nobody else does the same shit to you. That's what Trump is saying right here. Sometimes you gotta make an example of somebody. Most of the time, the mafia didn't shoot somebody or kill somebody because of that person. They didn't take that person. They did that to make sure it set an example for everyone else. You don't have to be nice. You have to be fair. And sometimes fair doesn't seem fair to somebody else. But remember, it's your peace of mind, and it's your issue that you worry about, that you care about, that you're concerned with. And I just want to go back to the whole passion thing. Okay, I live my life passionately, and so does Trump. Also, before this, he waited 20 years to be able to develop this piece of shit railroad yard property. I lived there during that time. And those nobody thought that anybody was going to be able to do anything with those railroads. It was this railroad yard that was just an eyesore for so many years. But I'm going to talk to you about something in a little while more. It's called being patiently aggressive. Okay, because so many of us force things and push and push and push and push when we should be just, being patient, be aggressive in our thought processes, in our ways, but don't force anything, because usually when you force something, you will make a mistake that can be detrimental, just like I did. I lost $1.5 million thinking that I was Donald Trump, believing that I could do, because I had passion, I had determination, I was patiently aggressive. Or so I thought. But I forced things to be, and I spent money, and I wasn't looking at the red flags. I just wanted to get it done, because at the time I was like a pit bull, and I just wouldn't let go. Sometimes you have to let go to see that you're not biting a bone. Sometimes dogs just want to wrestle with something, and they don't know what they're wrestling with. And it could be a rattlesnake, and it could bite you on the ass, and then you're dead.